How's it going, guys? Series here with a new strategy of a new 100 maps. I bring you today Harbinger farming. Now Harbinger farming is really nice. It's quite consistent in currency, and sometimes you can get very lucky and drop a mirror shard. Let's get into the maps just a little bit. This time around I've chose to run tier 16 8 modded defiled cathedrals. Now 8 modded maps are very hard, but they have a high quantity number. Of course they come with their downside, is that you cannot roll them, so this might be quite a little bit annoying. However, you can regex the person that you want to buy the maps from, and he'll give you something that you can run. And for those of you who don't know how to set up your regex, we just go here into poe.re. You can go to the map section and choose the mods that you do not wish to run. I just can't run these two mods. You just copy them and paste them onto the person's chat or person's Discord on TFT, and then there you go. Now let's talk about the Scarabs. We'll be using two Harbinger Scarabs, one Harbinger Scarabs of Obelisk. Now this Scarab was buffed since last season, so we'll be testing if that can be good right now. We'll be taking the Harbinger Scarab of Regency for a 50% chance for our Harbinger to be replaced by a Harbinger boss, and finally the Harbinger Scarab of Warhordes, so that we duplicate all the shards that our Harbinger drop. And of course we'll be using the Harbinger craft on the map. Now as for why we chose Defiled Cathedral, this is because this map has a chance to drop the Apothecary. This is a very expensive divination card, so we might have a chance to drop one. However, I am planning to move on to Jungle Valleys if I encounter the Nameless Seer, so I can scry the Apothecary card onto Jungle Valley, and we'll continue with the 100 maps on Jungle Valley. Now finally let's talk about the Atlas. We're of course taking all of the Harbinger nodes with no exceptions. We're taking all of the increased effect of explicit modifiers on the tree, except for Chisel Perfection, because this does not benefit our maps, because we buy the maps without quality on them, so you don't need to spec this, you can remove this. And of course we're taking all of the other Scarab nodes as well. And finally we are blocking all of the mechanics except Ultimatum and Harvest. Now of course we're taking the Eater of World Altars for more quant and for a chance to get that Divine Altar. We're taking as much pack size as possible. I've decided to drop this node because this is whatever, this does not have a lot of benefits. And finally we're taking these two nodes right here for a chance that our map drop with Memory Influence. And of course let's not forget the Quant Inner Wheel and the Quant Outer Wheel. We're favoring Scarabs of Containment. And finally I need to tell you that Harbingers are not affected by quantity. I take quantity just to better the overall map drops. Now in terms of investment, what do 100 maps like this cost? Now let's talk about the cost of the maps. Now I have farmed all of these maps, I did not buy them. However, if you were to buy them on a specific regex from TFT, the maps will cost you about 8 chaos per map. So this leaves us at 800 chaos for the 100 maps or 4 divines. We'll be using the map crafter 100 times, 3 chaos per each try. So that's 300 chaos or about 1.5 divines. We've paid 1 divine for the Scarabs of Obelisk, 2 divines for the Harbinger Scarab, 6 divines for the Warhorde Scarabs, and another 6 divines for the Regency Scarabs. So this leaves us at about 20 divines of investment. Now before I start, just let me tell you, this farm is quite hard because we have 8 modded maps and all of them scale with the increased effect of explicit modifiers. That's for one thing. Second thing, the Harbinger themselves are very rippy. So if you need to run this farm, if you want to run this farm, you basically need the spell suppression or maybe spell block. Now I'll leave you with the highlights and we'll be back later to calculate the profit. Welcome back, guys. I am finished with all the maps. I gotta say, those were pretty rippy. I maybe bricked 3 or 4 of them, but who cares, we made outstanding loot. Now you can see that I have some empty slots right here. This is because I had the ancient orbs, the orbs of annulment here, but I realized they were dropping a little bit in price, so I put them up on Faustus for sale. We'll discuss how many of those we made in a second. And as for this tab right here, I also sold all my fracturing orbs because I noticed they were dropping just a little bit in price, but do not worry, the data is saved. Now let's talk about the loot. I have dropped a ton of chaos orbs and a lot of bubblegum currency, a lot of maps. Now at some point I was favoring the Mesa map and I changed to toxic sewers. This one's corrupted, this one's pretty much worthless. Let's destroy it. Now out of all my orbs of annulment I have 24 left. I've dropped a lot of scarabs as well, as you can see. So the most noticeable drops were 3 containment scarabs, 2 catalyzing scarabs, and 3 scarabs of awakening. Now we've dropped 8 raw divines, 7 Valdo puzzle boxes, 41 exalts. Also I have these nice fractures. I think I can get maybe in the range of 50 to 100 C per fracture of those. I saw the Nameless Seer and he gave me a Storm Shroud. This is worth about 1.5 divines. We've dropped a Divine Beauty and Empower, a max roll on the maximum elemental resistance Gladiator Plate, a Doriani's Prototype, a Corpus Will, a Tabula, a Batch of the Brotherhood, 1 Cetus Apex. This is not worth a lot, but it's money. 2 Asenath's Touch. We got 5 Saint Treasure, so this is basically 1 Exalted Orb, 2 Patience, 2 The Hook, and 5 Fortunate Cards. Now those fractures right here, some are worth some money. Let's see, this one's worth a Divine. This one right here is also worth around 100 C. This one is worth, let's put 6. This one's worth about 2 divines, and this one with fractured T1 attack speed is worth 2 divines. Now just from those alone we have about 4 to 5 divines. This armor right here is worth a divine. The Doriani's Prototype is worth 100 C, and the Batch of the Brotherhood is worth about 20 chaos, but with those at max roll are worth about 50 C. So I would give or take about 3 divines for the uniques. We've got 4 abomination maps, 1 sanctuary map, a few tier 16.5 toxic sewers, and 3 mesa tier 16.5. Of course we got the invitations right here. Now let's move to Whealty Exile to see how much of everything I made. But before that, let's go to Faustus, and you can see right here that I've sold all my ancient orbs and all my fracturing orbs. We're looking at a lot of divines just from this window right here. Now let's move to the Whealty Exile, and as you can see from this tab right here, this I had it loaded yesterday. I have made 323 ancient orbs. Those sold for 12 divines at Faustus. We've made 2.3k chaos orbs. This was insane. Just by the amount of raw chaos drops, we almost made back our currency. We got 646 annulment orbs. Now in terms of fracturing orbs, we made 5 and 16 shards. So what I did is I bought 4 shards and I sold the 6 fracturing orbs. Now I will reload the tabs to get a much clearer number. Okay, so because I sold the fracturing orbs and the ancient orbs and the orbs of annulment, the tabs have lessened in value, but no matter, we will add them both, and add to that the divines I have here from Faustus.
What have you got for me?
Let's go and remove all that. So just from Faustus alone, we have right now 41 divines, and we'll add to the 41 the 25 divines from the stab right here. This gives us 66, and we'll add to that 27. This will put us at 93 divines. Now of course this number is not the accurate number. This is because this application does not calculate the tier 16.5s. So to give you a more accurate number, what I did is that I removed everything that the application cannot price correctly, and I left everything else in the tabs. Now I added the divines that I got from selling my fracturing orbs, ancient orbs and annulment orbs to this tab. I will refresh my tabs and see what are they worth. Now as you can see, these were just synced. This quad tab right here is worth 26 divines, and this one is worth 64. This gives us a total of 90 divines worth of scarabs, currency, divination cards, 1 gem, and a bit of maps. Now everything I have here I will calculate manually for you to have a more precise number. If we're looking at the tier 16.5s right here, these are about 25 chaos per map. This gives us about 1 divine. The uniques right here are worth about 3 divines. The invitations are worth 1.6 divines. The fractured bases are worth about 5 divines, and this storm shroud alone is worth 1.3 divines, giving us a total of 11.9 divines. So let's just say 12. Add that to 90, this will give us 102 divines. So with a 20 divine investment, we made 102 divines. This leaves us at 82 divines of pure profit. Now something I need to tell you, when I started running these maps, I was getting a lot of fracturing shards, but in the end, the last 20 maps, I barely dropped some. So you might need to run a big sample size if you want to notice some decent revenue. And also, if you're running Harbingers, do not forget you always have a chance to drop a mirror shard. This is very rare. I have never dropped one myself. However, they say that it does exist in the drop pool. And I do need to know, out of all the strats that I've been running so far, this one generated a ton of gold. We're looking at approximately 2 million gold generated for these maps, but I already deposited everything on my mappers in King's March. So Harbingers, in my opinion, are very worth to do. However, you need to stay consistent with your farm and do a lot of it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, do not hesitate. I answer everything. I will leave the planner for the Atlas in the description. And as always, like if you like, subscribe if you want, and thank you for watching.